Sometimes they can get exaggerated.
What kind of things get you through these periods? Is that yourself, or is it reaction maybe from other people that think more positive about it than you?
Yeah, a little bit. I think more having good friends around that you can trust, you know, and that give it positive feedback. Because I'm lucky enough to have my manager is actually one of my best friends. We used to make surf movies together, and then over time he just kind of filled in as my manager. He was one of my smarter friends, so I let him read a book called How to Manage or something like that, and he filled that role in. And then my wife helps a lot with everything, and all the people that surround me, I don't think would ever let me put something out that would be embarrassing or something like that. They just, they would rather, if they heard it and knew that it wasn't worth putting out, they would tell me. So I trust them a lot.
But is it still for you now that it's turned into a big career at least? Is it comes still natural for you? I mean, the way you write songs and...
Yeah, I think it's become more natural for me again. There was a period where after the first album, well, when I wrote the first album, it was all while I was just making the surf film, and there was never even a fraction of an idea that I would have a musical career. All the songs were written just to record on a 4-track and pass around to my friends and stuff like that, because I just really loved the process of staying up and making some kind of a little project, you know. And so all of a sudden I had probably 20 songs, and then I got the offer to make an album, so I put them all on an album, and then the thing went to where it did, grew pretty big. So then after that I had a little trouble trying to write songs for a while, because every time I'd start to write one, it would just pop in my mind that people will hear this, and it would just kind of put this block on me of an insecurity to try to say anything when people will hear it. And then what I learned to do was just write all the time and never think about that, because I didn't have to present a song. So if I got halfway through a song and didn't like it, I just throw it aside. Or if I got all the way through a song, sat on it for a few weeks, and then decided it wasn't worth it, I just throw it aside. There's that, the filtering process could come later once I figured that out. And another lucky thing we did was we never signed up for a multiple record deal, so we've always only owed a record company one record. So once I finished an album, I never have signed another deal until I felt like I had another group of songs. So I've never had that thing of having to do a record just to fulfill a contract or something like that. You know, it's always been when I feel there's something worth putting down.
Is that something you learned from maybe things you did early in your life? You started very young when you were surfing, and was that for you when you were young? Was there pressure on you maybe in your early surfing career that you maybe did want to get that into music as well?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. With the surfing, sometimes they can get exaggerated because of my position now that I used to be a pro surfer, stuff like that. And I definitely had a little moment where I got to toy around with the idea of being a pro surfer, because I grew up in Hawaii. I was pretty good at surfing the good side, like when waves would get pretty good size in Hawaii. I was never very good at surfing real small waves like guys can be with the tricks and all that. Mm-hmm. So I got to surf in some of the professional events when they'd come to Hawaii. I'd be one of those kids that would get to surf in the trials to see if he could make it to the main event. But I was never going to probably be a professional surfer, really. Just got to surf a few events. And then, so anyways, I probably learned a few things from that, I guess, because I did see some of my friends that were really good go on to be pro surfers. Half of them had a pretty successful life where they were able to hold on to that for a while and then transition into working for a surf company, whereas some of the other ones became kind of disgruntled with the whole thing of trying to turn something you love into a business. Mm-hmm. And so I think, yeah, I guess you're right. That did help with, as the music came along, we were lucky to have a guy named Plunier, who's Ben Harper. He used to manage Ben Harper, and he produced a lot of Ben Harper's albums. And he started working with us when I was doing my first album, and he had the advice that it's just as important what you say no to as what you say yes to. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to turn down a lot of things that came along that maybe other people that would have been more hungry would have just grabbed onto.